So thank you for the invitation to this awesome event. Thank you for the opportunity to follow Gary. That was certainly very insightful. And he knows a whole lot more about what's coming than certainly I do. But I wanted to start my presentation really with just where we are, right? What does this mean? What does AI mean? How do we see it? The truth is we've all been using AI for a very, very long period of time. It's just how you define what fits into that. So I think it's good to look at the hype cycle. I'm sure many of you have seen this before, but whenever a new technology comes out, there's some sort of trigger. Obviously with AI, it's our processing capability. The compute is the trigger that allows us to do so many more things. And there's this giant peak of exaggerated expectations. Gary just talked about some timeframes, right? Who knows if those will be right? Was it 6 months, 6 years, 60 years away? Who knows, right? But the peak of exaggerated expectations, and then we slide down to that trough of disillusionment. Is it ever going to get there? And then gradually we work up to a path of enlightenment, and then really a plateau of productivity where we are actually have a product that works, is producing revenue, and makes sense from a business perspective. So that is the hype cycle. Where does AI today kind of fit into those different parts of the hype cycle? Really, generative AI and LLMs and the AI-driven content creation, autonomous systems, AI and enterprise software, we're really at peak of exaggerated expectations. Some of those things are trickling out, a lot of Microsoft Copilot and things like that. But where the world is going and where we envision the world to go is really at the height of those expectations. Well, what's in the trough of disillusionment right now? Really, chatbots, they're really maturing and getting closer and closer. Autonomous vehicles, I don't know if any of you guys who live in the Bay Area have been in a Waymo. I had the opportunity to ride in them in Phoenix. It's really an amazing experience without that driver there, and how well it does in complex situations. And then some aspects of computer vision. But what is really the path of enlightenment? Our machine learning with specific business applications. Gary talked about when it's built specifically for an application, we're really there. The recommendation engine, and then natural language processing, the ability to understand the spoken word and what is truly intended by the spoken word in every language in the world. It's amazing how well translation and the ability to speak, just like Gary showed with ChatGPT's ability to answer a question in a different language. The other thing that is fully or nearly fully realized is computer vision in controlled environments. I think it's really important to say in controlled environments. So where did I get this information? I got this information from Claude. So leveraging AI to find this out, it's amazing how fast you can do research, but you do have to make sure that it is correct. So I will let the audience, whether with your questions or otherwise, let me know if I am correct in these things. But I also leverage a known source, Gartner, right, who really came up with the hype cycle. And you can see that what's very interesting in this chart, one, they agree. Computer vision is really what's at that plateau of productivity. But I think what is also interesting is to look at the time frames that they have associated with different things on the hype cycle. Bill Gates said it phenomenally well. We always overestimate the change that will occur in the next 2 years and underestimate the change that will occur in the next 10. So typically we're overestimating where we're going to be, but then we don't realize how fast we're going to get there when it comes to the end of the decade. I think that's really where we're at right now. There is so much more in the hype section than there is in the actual productive section. We're really at a point of bifurcation when it comes to AI. The key characteristics of this current period is practical applications that are delivering real value with less hype are really, really working. But the more speculative applications that are generating all kinds of excitement really haven't proven their long-term value. It's almost like we're in a boring is good, or if you're in the trash business, right? Trash is cash. Not really a sexy business with spinning off a lot of cash. On the other side of the coin, there is the hype, right? NVIDIA, I'm sure many of you own it or have owned it. If you look at what that stock has done from a market cap perspective over the last year, it's really crazy, right? NVIDIA has joined the likes of Apple and Microsoft as the highest valued companies in the world, right? And so we see that happening all in time of 1 year. So where does NVIDIA hit in that hype cycle? I don't know. Could it be at the edge of prosperity, or is it just in the true hype zone? Time will tell. But we get back to talking about that hype cycle. The one thing that everybody agrees on is that what is now and what is actually present today is computer vision. Computer vision is in this plateau of productivity, and I want to talk about how we're using that today. Our friends at AV Nation published a list of 25 AI-enabled AV products. This is a list a little bit, or the picture a little bit more blown up. If you look at these products, there is something that 15 of them have in common. There's the Crestron One Beyond cameras, and then there's an additional 14 products that are incorporating computer vision into their features, or what enables the AI. So if you look at across the AV spectrum, we're leveraging computer vision, which obviously is right in line with the hype cycle that we see. So how is Crestron using computer vision? Really, it's with our Automate VX and Intelligent Video line of products. We released the power of visual AI in January of this year. And along with our Automate VX multi-camera speaker tracking system. Gary showed a lot of different multi-camera speaker tracking systems. I do want to talk about what separates Crestron and Automate VX and One Beyond from a lot of the other things that are out there just as hype. One is purposeful design. So when we use Automate VX, we design on purpose in a fully scaled environment, knowing the XYZ coordinates of everything. That's why it works. And again, it's purposeful intent when it comes to leveraging AI systems. We support more audio systems than anybody else on the market. So you're not forced to use just ours or just somebody's. We support 13 different audio sources. We also support unlimited cameras. So yes, there's the Crestron cameras that are available in white or black, our intelligent video cameras, our pan tilt zoom. But we also support any camera that has SDI. We support any camera that has NDI. So you're not locked into just using Crestron cameras. We also have a very elegant solution. If you look at multiple presenter tracking is available in our i20 camera. It's just available in the i20 camera. There's nothing else you have to add or increase in order to bring that to fruition. You simply add the i20 with its phenomenal industrial design. We allow true conversation mode, or really a canvas that you can build in whichever way you like. So if there's multiple people talking, we'll show multiple of them. If you always want a chairman to be shown on there, we can always have the chairman shown. We can really configure Automate VX to display to the end user any way you want that to be done. And when it comes to commissioning, we're really just validating all the stuff we did up front for how we envision the system working, actually working. So it is very simple to commission. It is purposely built and purposely scaled and measured to work just right. Some of the other technology that we have built in are seamless intelligent presets. So we have a preset zone built in if you want to show off the whiteboard. So here's a shot of Kara standing next to the whiteboard. As soon as she leaves that preset zone, you can see that the camera follows her onto the next zone. So if you have a whiteboard, you're going to get the entire whiteboard. If you move out of that preset zone, we'll follow and track along. Here's one of the biggest enhancements with visual AI capabilities.
Mover. It's going to keep them in the center of the shot, regardless of where they actually are after they trigger that initial shot.
But obviously, we're going to do that in an intelligent way because you don't want it reframing all the time. So if I move around just a little bit, it's not going to reframe me. It's only if I move significantly that it will. That way you don't get sick watching the camera movement.
Yep. And what you also notice is people, especially in longer meetings, tend to naturally just move around. So if people are doing that, our auto framing and reframing is able to ensure that that person is always centered in the frame in those situations as well.
So when we bring those visual AI capabilities, those are actually our standard PTZ cameras in conjunction with Automate VX. So that isn't a presenter tracking camera. That's using visual AI built into the software on the server to understand where a person is and how close are they to the original intended shot. We also have very smooth
Would that reframe?
professional movement. If you look at how our One Beyond cameras move, they pan and tilt at the same time. So you can see as this shot moves back to get both of the people at the table, it's very smooth. Some others pan or tilt, and you can see what that on-air camera movement looks like. As you can see, when the camera pans and tilts, it's more like going as the crow flies rather than how the road forces you to go. Something else that's built into Automate VX is our ability to reconfigure rooms. This is actually a shot of the facility I'm in today, our Cypress facility in Southern California. This is all our multi-purpose room, and we are showing is a projection on the screen that you actually look at with the cameras to see how you line up the tables. So we have this room set up in classroom mode in this scenario, but we actually have 7 different configurations that we support in this room. So, and we can move the furniture right after a meeting. It's as simple as moving the furniture and away you go. So this supports classroom, it supports a small U, supports a large U, supports a boardroom, supports a hollow square, supports a courtroom, and supports a council chamber. So we can reconfigure this room in all those ways using the same cameras, the same Automate VX software. It's all just built in and works seamlessly. Something else Crestron has brought is really meeting rooms made easy. We have standalone capability. So our cameras not only support SDI, NDI, but they also support USB directly. So we can directly connect our i12 series camera to a UC engine, a compute device, whether it's a Crestron compute device or UC system or anybody else's. So that really opens up the possibility when we look at AV over IP and leveraging all the network-based tools. So you go from an i12 camera to a Flex UC engine to a Crestron Air Media with PoE speakers, touch panels, everything on the network. And you really don't even need a centralized DSP anymore as you leverage the AEC built into Flex and the DSP capabilities built into the edge devices. We need smaller rooms. It doesn't mean you can't have intelligent video. So you can actually pair 2 i12s together and you can have one focused on framing the group and the other on a presenter so that you intelligently switch as soon as someone goes into the presenter zone to that presenter and then come back to the group when they sit down or are no longer in that presenter zone. We can also use this for whiteboarding. You don't have to just think of it as a presenter in the true sense of the word. Anytime someone gets up and goes to the whiteboard, we can trigger that shot to go there. So that's where we're at today. All of this is available today, and in many cases have been available for several months, really this whole year. I do want to give you a peek into the future or where we're going. And when I say into the future, I'm not talking a year from now or 2 years from now or 5 years from now. Into the future as in kind of like the end of this year. So something we've been working on for a long time, and I think Gary in his keynote showed a presentation of this where you're getting true presentation style cuts based on the direction that somebody is actually looking. So you can see in this example, leveraging the debugger, when he turns to a different part of the room, a different camera picks him up because that's a more natural shot. Now, this isn't that far in the future, that much of a surprise, because we actually showed this at Infocom. And what I wanted to show you guys next is what David Maldoff, the founder of Let's Do Video, said.
These multi-camera solutions, the big complaint that my fellow analysts and I in the industry have had is the demos look fake. They look like actors and actresses. There's music. It feels like Hollywood. Sometimes the camera switch before the people turn their heads. Come on, just show us how it actually works. So Sam showed me an actual demo of Crestron multicam.
Who's in a different part of the room where he wants to the head of the instead of seeing the side of his face, which isn't going to give me that great eye contact, the camera automatically switches without the user getting zero user intervention.
So you see what's going on here. Camera switching by itself is great to have a camera on each person, but a lot of times you have a camera on the side of someone's face. That's not good. This gets in front of their face. And yes, it looked like an actual demo. Now we can believe it actually works. It switched a reasonable amount of time after the person turned their head. We don't want it switching too much. It worked as we expected.
So that's what is coming and a peek around the corner. And I do want to highlight our facility here in Cyprus that is available to you. This is a picture of Joe Hernandez and Joe Pettarella, the two Joes as we have here in Southern California. And we're showing Q&A mode. So Joe is the presenter at the front of the room. The camera is following him around, but Joe asks a question as if it's from a classroom, and he'll pop up in a picture-in-picture rather than the full screen. So those are all kinds of options that are available. And again, we can demo all of this to you in Cyprus. So we have the two i12 set up in that drawing that I showed you. We have the multi-purpose room, and we even have the next evolution, or what we call the sightline room, that we'll be installing here in the next couple of months. So encourage you guys to work with your Crestron rep to schedule a demo or come on down and bring your customers down to see it in person. Here's another shot of Joe rearranging that furniture from the classroom to the U shape. So in the future, what is out there when it comes to AI? We see machine learning and predictive insights, right? And we really see that in XIO Cloud, where you have the ability to do not only predictive maintenance, but predictive design. A lot of that's what Gary talked about when he was talking about the command and control room. How do you design that command and control room? Obviously, we see innovations when it comes to things like CAD and stuff that we do over and over again, but just takes the right insight to understand what we're doing. AI is going to take care of a lot of that for us. So I want to transition a little bit away from AI and actually talk about AV over IP. We had a live stream event this morning where we launched a new Crestron product. I don't know how many of you on the this call saw that. I don't know that I can see any raised hands or anything as I'm going through this, but it's a celebration of everything AV over IP. And it's all this week. So we're celebrating over 1 million NVX boxes that have sold, and celebrating projects and innovations that have happened with that. But we are also launching the new DM NVX 384. And I'm lucky enough to have that in my hand right here. It is available on our website. It'll be shipping next month. It is real. You can see it. Well, what's different about it? It has USB-C connectivity, so there's two USB-C ports, in addition to two HDMI ports. So it's a 4x1 switch on the front end. I'm not sure if I cut out there or if I'm back. Nicole?
We see you. Looking good.
All right, so it cut out on my end. But 4x1 switch on the front end, or 4x1 switching if it's in decode mode. So this is an encoder or a decoder. And also what we're calling NEK, or really up to 5K resolutions with ultra wide screen. So 32:9, 21:9, supporting that front row experience. All of that is built into the 384 that will be coming next month. There are some additional features down the road that are going to come to that, including multi-stream, but we'll get into those as they are available rather than getting too far out in front. So if you haven't seen it, the live stream is available. If you have any questions, we're happy to host that. And we do have a Techinar tomorrow that's going to go into all the details on the new 384. So in closing, I just want to encourage all of you. Back in the early 2000s, there was a famous Mac versus PC commercial, right? Apple ran this, I'm a Mac, I'm a PC. But at the end of the day, you were using a computer, right? Whether you were a Mac user or a PC user. I want to make sure everybody on this call is using AI. There are so many tools out there. We hear about just GPT as the biggest, but these are all AI tools to be used for different applications. And there are so many out there. And the one thing that is common, if you're not using AI, your job is not going to be taken by AI. Your job is likely going to be taken by somebody who knows how to use AI. Today, you may be in the 0.11111% if you're using these AI tools, because today 1 in 9 people are using AI. So there is plenty of time for you to be one of those people that's using AI every day and incorporating it as a tool into how you do your job better. Obviously, the big companies are going to release different innovations and bring things to platforms that we all use every day. But you need to be an expert in using AI, no different than you had to be an expert in using a computer or even using a cell phone. You wouldn't hire someone today that didn't have the ability to use a cell phone. The same will be true of these AI tools in the future. So I thank you for your time. I congratulate whoever in the future wins the Solo Stove.